at BYRON go.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, my God.
A stunner.
2020 has been a bizarre year for everyone, and this also extends to WWE and their superstars. They presented a product in front of no audience for virtually the entirety of this year, and no doubt it has impacted the fans' enjoyment of the overall product. Even WWE talent themselves have admitted that it's just not the same and simply not as enjoyable working in an empty arena compared to an arena that contains 15,000 plus screaming fans.
Thank you, God.
But although WWE have had it tough this year, there have been some hilarious moments on television thanks to things going wrong in the way of bloopers on live television. But which ones were they? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 of the funniest bloopers of 2020 that made it to air. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1. Randy Orton's 2017 render resurfaces. Now, the Apex Predator has had a fantastic 2020, as Orton has seemingly put it all together in the ring and has been doing his best work ever on the microphone.
You're a junkie for your own ego.
Following an acclaimed feud with Edge, Orton would enter into a feud with Drew McIntyre over the WWE title. This would ultimately lead to Orton winning the championship at Hell in a Cell, which made Orton a 14-time world champion and solidified himself as one of the greatest superstars of all time. But in a rather humorous move following the victory, WWE decided to use a 2017 render of Orton for a promo material on social media. Eagle-eyed fans quickly noticed this and left comments on social media addressing how WWE lazily used the promo photos following Orton's title win in 2017 rather than just taking new photos of Orton with the title. What was even more amusing was WWE deciding to simply Photoshop the 2017 render of Orton and replace the head with the 2020 stock image of Orton. If they went to that much trouble, they might as well have just taken a new photo, or simply just Photoshop the title on his 2020 render. Number 2. KAIRI SANE gets mad when an umbrella fails to open. A WWE main event is a show that goes under the radar for a lot of fans. Well, simply because only about 3 fans tune in each week. But the show features talent who WWE Creative didn't have any plans for on that week's television, so they allow them to perform on main event and they usually get a lot of time. Notably, on the April 27th edition of main event, it featured KAIRI SANE facing off against Ruby Riott. KAIRI had been receiving rave reviews for her heel work alongside Asuka as part of the Kabuki Warriors, and she was firing on all cylinders. During that match in particular, KAIRI would open her trademark umbrella, but it malfunctioned. This led to KAIRI pulling a hilarious facial expression and then proceeding to throw the umbrella right on the ground. Number 3. Tucker shows up to a backstage segment holding a script. Hell in a Cell 2020 featured The Miz capturing the Money in the Bank briefcase for the second time in his career. Now, this was thanks to the betrayal of his former tag team partner Tucker. But following that match, The Miz alongside John Morrison would participate in a backstage interview until they would be interrupted by the betrayer Tucker. Tucker would awkwardly have a piece of paper in his hand which was clearly his script for his promo. Once Tucker realized he still had the promo script in his hand, he suspiciously threw it on the floor. Now, it's unclear whether this mistake caused Tucker to face any punishment backstage. However, in the week following that blooper, Tucker would lose to Ricochet on Raw in a 1-minute match, which indicates the humorous blooper wasn't met with laughs backstage. Number 4. R-Truth is the 9/11 champion? Now, pro wrestling is often aired live, which makes for occasional slips of the lip.
From the Summerfest.
He'll be banned from SummerSlam is what you're saying.
SummerSlam.
Slammed out.
With some of them being unintentionally funny. One such moment happened on the 19th October edition of Raw Talk, when the lovely and talented Charlie Caruso was interviewing the perpetual 24/7 champion R-Truth. Now, during the segment, Charlie wanted to showcase her knowledge of Truth's many names for the belt, so she asked him about being the 24/7 9/11 champion. Truth obviously caught Charlie's mistake and started talking while Charlie regained her composure. Number 5. MVP starts laughing on Raw Talk. The shows like Raw Talk and Talking Smack are two shows that are extremely popular with fans. They are unscripted talk shows which allow the talent to be themselves and really show a different side to them, as well as build to future matches and programs in their own way. Raw Talk and Talking Smack returned in 2020 and they've really helped certain talents in the pandemic era get over and get much needed microphone time that they wouldn't have regularly got on WWE programming. The 31st August 2020 edition of Raw Talk featured the Hurt Business, consisting of MVP, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. As Bobby Lashley began to talk, he somehow forgot to talk into the microphone, which led to Raw Talk host Charlie Caruso informing Lashley that he needed to talk into the mic so everyone could hear him. This set off MVP as he naturally found the mistake hilarious. He actually found it so funny that he had to cover his face with his hand to hide the fact that he was laughing. Number 6. Mike Rome announces the wrong winner. Now, April 13th, 2020 featured the last match of former Riot Squad member Sarah Logan. Unfortunately, her last match will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Her final match would be against Shayna Baszler in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Now, this would be a complete squash match with the referee declaring Shayna the winner and followed with Shayna stepping on Logan's arm. However, the finish clearly confused Raw ring announcer Mike Rome, who decided to announce Logan as the winner, and Logan would be the one advancing to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. This obviously confused Shayna and the Raw commentary team, who quickly stated that Rome had got confused and it was Shayna who was the actual winner of the match and would proceed to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Number 7. NXT TAKEOVER stand-ins. The current NXT announced team consists of Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, and Beth Phoenix, meaning when eagle-eyed viewers noticed that the two individuals sat next to Vic at NXT TakeOver 31 weren't actually Wade Barrett and Beth Phoenix, fans were obviously baffled. Barrett and Phoenix were calling the action from their homes for undisclosed reasons, so WWE decided to hire two stand-ins so it wouldn't look strange if Vic was calling the action by himself. The obvious idea from WWE was to not directly show the two stand-ins in clear shot. However, this went out the window within the first 10 minutes as they accidentally shot to the two stand-ins and would continue to do this throughout the show in a hilarious mishap. Dave Meltzer would comment on the mishap following NXT TakeOver. He stated, "They had fake announcers. Vic Joseph was there, they had a woman playing the role of Beth Phoenix who wasn't even a blonde, and they had some random dude. It was Casey Lennox from MLW, and I have no idea who the guy was playing Barrett." Number 8. Big E at Money in the Bank. It's been common practice on WWE television this year for Big E to throw his ring jacket at Corey Graves at ringside whenever the New Day make their entrance. However, at the 2020 Money in the Bank pay-per-view, the jacket thrown was thrown with extra power, which resulted in Graves being knocked from his chair, meaning he also lost his headset in the process. The incident was met with laughter from virtually everyone, Big E, Graves, even Michael Cole at ringside. However, one man who didn't find the throw humorous was Vince McMahon himself. Speaking on the official WWE podcast, Big E would reveal, "He who shall not be named, he asked us to stop throwing things at you. It's one of those things where if I'm told not to do something, I'll stop. Then I'll wait a month because he usually forgets, and then I'll start doing it again, and if he doesn't say anything, I'll keep doing it." Number 9. The wedding official gets tackled mistakenly by security. The last Raw of 2019 featured a wedding ceremony between Lana and Bobby Lashley. However, which is obvious for WWE, the wedding didn't actually take place as Rusev would interrupt the vows. However, the following week on Raw, the two would once again have their ceremony, albeit without the elegance and glamour. Now, what was memorable about this whole segment was the priest who would be involved in the wedding segment was seen on WWE television shortly before the segment took place. He would enter the ring to get ready for the segment following a match featuring AJ Styles, when all of a sudden WWE security tackled the priest to the ground. It was clear that nobody informed WWE security that the priest was going to enter the ring, and clearly assumed he was an overzealous fan. And number 10, Stone Cold kicks Byron Saxton right in the groin. The March 16th, 2020 edition of Raw featured a special appearance from the legendary Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The nature of his appearance was to celebrate 316 Day. Now, unfortunately, the appearance took place in front of no fans, meaning Austin and WWE were extremely limited in what they could do. One thing they decided to do was Austin to interact with Raw announcer Byron Saxton. Sadly for Saxton, he would take the Stone Cold Stunner. But this wasn't just a normal stunner, as Austin accidentally kicked Byron straight in the groin, Things then got worse for Byron when he was hit in the eye with a beer can following Austin failing to catch one during his infamous beer turnbuckle taunt. Austin would comically apologize to Byron via social media for the humorous incident, and Byron would later admit in a later interview that both men laughed it off. But there you have it, guys. 10 of the funniest WWE bloopers of 2020 that made it to air. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.